Welcome to ePathashala in Linguistics. I am K.V. Subbarao. Today we are going to discuss some features of Dravidian languages. This is Dravidian language part 2. In part 1 we have discussed some features. We are going to discuss some other features of Dravidian languages and show that these features are the features that are normally found in many languages, and all the parametric differences are a subset of the universal grammar. So, echo words, for example, we have seen that echo words, the formation of echo words is a very robust phenomenon in South Asian languages and also in Dravidian. We have seen, like in Telugu, the word for tiger is puli and the echo word for puli is puli gili. Now, in Hindi, when you use an echo word, it does not signify any rudeness or impoliteness. If somebody comes to your house, you can say, "Kya chai vai piyenge?" Chai is the, would you like to have a cup of tea? And the like. Chai is the word for tea. Why is and the like. Would you like to have a cup of tea? Or something like that. But in Dravidian languages, especially in Telugu, the use of an echo word may signal rudeness or impoliteness, and it cannot be used in a formal context unless there is lot of closeness or intimacy between the speaker and hearer, and also it can be used only in an informal context. For example, you have gotten your daughter married. Are you going to give us a party? The word for party in Telugu is party. So, I cannot ask someone, you have married your daughter off, party giti ivara, won't you give, literally translated, won't you give a party? That party giti cannot be used in a formal situation, and it really shows rudeness on the part of the speaker towards the hearer. So, what we have noticed is, while echo word formation is a phenomenon that is found in all South Asian languages and also in Dravidian languages, the function that the echo word performs, the echo word formation performs, may differ from one language to another language. Another feature that Dravidian languages share with the other languages of the subcontinent is the formation of conjunctive participles. As we have seen in other units, a conjunctive participle is a non-finite form and it requires a subject that is not normally overtly present, and you have something like having eaten, having read the paper, having watched some TV, the children slept. So, having eaten, eat is a verb, it requires a subject, but you have a big pro there. Big pro, having eaten, having read something, big pro again, having read, and the children slept. So, the conjunctive participle formation requires the embedded participle, the participle in the embedded clause to be, number one, non-finite. It should contain a big pro, though as we have seen in other cases, the big pro might occur in a case mark position in Dravidian languages, especially when you have a dative subject in the embedded clause. So, let us take an example of the conjunctive participle. The children got tired after playing a lot. Pillalu aadi aadi alisipoyaru. Pillalu, children. Aad is the verb to play. E is your conjunctive participle marker. Again, aad is the verb to play. E is your conjunctive participle marker. Now, to indicate the intensity of the action or the repetition of the action, you repeat the conjunctive participle, aadi, aadi, alisipoyaru. Alisipoyaru means they got tired. So this kind of reduplication of the conjunctive participle is found in all Dravidian languages. Then you have a negative conjunctive participle. If you recall, in some of the units we have seen that the negative in Hindi is a free form. The negative in the conjunctive participle in Dravidian languages is a bound form. It is infixed between the verb stem and the conjunctive participle marker, and it imparts the interpretation of instead of. So we will now discuss the conjunctive participles. Let me contrast this with Hindi. An example, like let's take Padu is the verb to sing, Aka is the negative conjunctive participle, and Aka is not a free form. So in Telugu it will be Padaka. That means not having sung, literally. That means it has the interpretation of instead of. Kavya, ee paata padaka, inko paata padindi. Kavya, instead of singing this song, she sang another song. In Hindi, the negative is a free form. You can have in Hindi, Kavya ye गाना ना गाकर और कोई गाना काव्या ने गाया था. Another feature that is common to all Dravidian languages is the quotative. Quotative is a conjunctive participle form of the verb to say in all Dravidian languages, and it performs the function of the right peripheral complementizer. What do you mean by the right peripheral complementizer? The quotative occurs to the right of the embedded clause. It's a grammaticalized form of the verb to say, and the quotative not only functions like a complementizer that links the main clause and the subordinate clause, but it also performs the function of a reason marker, a purpose marker, or it has the interpretation of, it's used for naming and labeling, etc. This is due to the process of grammaticalization, that is, the literal meaning of verb to say is lost, and it has acquired the function of a complementizer, and it performs many other functions. Let us now try to see what are the functions that the quotative performs. Let us now discuss the quotative in detail. The features that I am going to talk about the quotative in Telugu would also be found in other Dravidian languages. So the quotative is a conjunctive participial form of the verb to say. In Telugu it is an, and e is the conjunctive participle form, ani, having said. In Tamil it is n, to say, enru, having said. So it functions like a quotative. So let's look at, it functions like a right peripheral complementizer. Like Madhuri knows that they won't come. That in English is a left peripheral complementizer that occurs to the left of the embedded clause, and the quotative occurs to the right of the embedded clause. As you can see, Madhuri ki, to Madhuri, Vallu raru, they won't come. Ani literally means having said, but it is a complementizer here. Ani telusu. And notice that the occurrence of the quotative to the right of the embedded clause is consistent with verb final patterns, and it's a harmonic relation. It's in harmony with the position, in position, considering the position of the verb in South Asian language, in Dravidian languages. The quotative, the embedded clause with the quotative can be moved, is extraposable to the left as well as to the right of the matrix clause. For example, the leftward movement you can see in 29b. వాళ్ళు రారు అని మాధురికి తెలుసు. మాధురికి is the dative subject, is the matrix subject, telusu is the matrix predicate, and your embedded complementizer occurs to the right of the embedded clause, and the entire embedded clause occurs to the left of the matrix subject. So this is a case of extraposition where the embedded clause is extraposed to the left of the matrix clause. It can also occur to the right of the matrix clause, which is what we call the rightward movement. Madhuriki telusu, to Madhuri it is known, vallu raru ani, that they won't come. So here the matrix verb is telusu and your embedded clause occurs to the right. So that means what we find in Telugu and in other Dravidian languages is, in contrast to many Indo-Aryan languages, is that the embedded clause can occur in situ, that is Madhuriki S2 telusu, or it can occur to the left of the embedded clause S2 Madhuriki telusu, Madhuri knows, or it can occur to the right of the embedded clause Madhuriki telusu S2 with complementizer, of course. The complementizer is the quotative. The quotative also functions, has many other functions, and these functions are due to the process of grammaticalization. One of the expressions, one of the functions that the quotative performs is as a reason marker. Why did you not come to the, why did you not come? You are asking for a reason. I did not come because you did not come. Ni, this is from Tamil. Ni varavillai endru, naan varavillai. Ni, you, varavillai, came not. Endru, the quotative. En is the verb to say. Ru is the conjunctive participle form. Endru, literally having said, but functioning as a quotative here, and it has the interpretation of the reason. So, because you did not come, naan varavillai, I did not come. Let me read the sentence again. Nee varavillai endru, naan varavillai. I did not come because you did not come. The next function that the quotative functions is the purpose marker, but we are like, why are you going to Agra? I am going to Agra in order to see the Taj Mahal. In Telugu I can say, Nenu Taj Mahal Chuddam Ani. I Taj Mahal see Ani, the quotative, going. In Dravidian languages, you also have the possibility of two complementizers occurring in the same sentence. But as we will show, this is called the double complementizer construction in Dravidian. But it is not really the double complementizer. There is only one complementizer. The other complementizer performs the function of a reason marker. That is how you can have two complementizers in a sentence, or else two complementizers are not permitted unless you have this kind of interpretation. And the issue of two complementizers arises in Dravidian because the quotative as a complementizer performs the function of a reason marker. Nee varavillai endru solli naan varavillai. Sol is the verb to say, en is the verb to say, the conjunctive participle of en is endru, and the conjunctive participle form of sol is solli. So you have nee varavillai solli, that is because you did not come. Then the complementizer solli naan varavillai, I did not come. So it's the double complementizer which looks like a double. By the way, the solli which is the second complementizer, can be dropped, in which case NR functions like the complementizer and it imparts the interpretation of a reason marker. The quotative, as I mentioned just now, may function as a purposive marker. For example, a sentence such as Madhuri went in order to meet Prakash. Madhuri, embedded subject is big pro. Kalusukundam ani వెళ్ళింది. Madhuri, Prakashni, Prakash with Prakash accusative, Kalusukundam to meet, వెళ్ళింది, went. So here Madhuri went in order to meet Prakash, and Konadam ani, Konadam is a gerund or an infinitival form of the verb. That's why you have a pro there, big pro. So Madhuri went in order to meet Prakash, and you have the final complementizer occurring to the right of the embedded verb, which is a gerund, which is a non-finite form. The quotative may also function as an identifier in naming and labeling. Indira ane manishi ikkadiki vachindi. An is the verb to say. Ane is the quotative, and it is in the an plus a is the habitual form of the verb. So ane non-finite. So it functions like the quotative, but it functions like an identifier. Literally it means saying, but it has the function of an identifier. Indira ane manishi ikkadiki vachindi. A person called Indira came here. The next part we are going to discuss is the parametric variation that is found in Dravidian languages, and this kind of variation is also shared with the other languages of the subcontinent, though in some cases the kind of constructions you have in Dravidian do not have a corresponding structure, either in Indo-Aryan or in Tibeto-Burman or in Munda or in Mon Khmer. So Dravidian languages are unique in certain constructions which are not found in other languages of the subcontinent. Prodrop, as we have discussed, is a dominant and a robust phenomenon. It is found in all Dravidian languages, but we have also noticed that prodrop is obligatory in the chapter on control. In the unit on control, we have noticed that when you have backward control and when you have a time expression in the matrix clause, prodrop is obligatory. What is the example we had? If you can recall, it has been 10 years that Lalita came here. Lalita having come here, it has been 10 years. So Lalita having come here, you can have a conjunctive participle, Lalita ikkadiki vachi. It has been 10 years. That it cannot be overtly present. To Lalita, 10 years happened. That's the sentence. You cannot have Lalita ki either overtly, nor can it be a pro, small pro. So the pro is obligatorily dropped in some cases. This is a very unique feature of Dravidian languages, which is not found elsewhere in the subcontinent. Then you have expletive light verbs with a negative. A distinct and unique feature of Dravidian languages is that finite verbs in the affirmative or a negative may be followed by a light verb to do with no semantic content. Let's look at an example and then we will see. In Kannada, he did not come at all. In Hindi, if I have to say the same sentence, वो आया ही नहीं, वो बिल्कुल नहीं आया, उसने बिल्कुल नहीं किया, he did not do. In Kannada you can say avan barayilla a madayilla. Avan, he, barayilla, came not, a conjunction, and madayilla. Mada means to do, did, illa, not. He did not come, not he did, nor he did not come, he did not do. That's the literal meaning. But this kind of mada in the second sentence, second part of the sentence, has no meaning at all. That gives the interpretation that he did not come at all. So this is found in Telugu, Vadu, Raledu, Cheyaledu. That is, he did not come and he did not do. That do does not have any meaning of the original verb to do, because it imparts an emphasis on the action and nothing more than that. Dravidian languages have a very important construction which we call the cognitive gerunds, in which the predicate in its gerundival form occurs to the left of the predicate, which provides a focus interpretation to the gerund. Let us see an example. He came, but he did not bring the money. This is the English sentence. In Telugu, what I can say is, Vadu Ravadam aite vachadu. He, Ravadam, coming, as for, came. Kani, but Dabbu taledu. He did not bring the money. So what we are trying to say, the speaker is trying to say is, as for his coming, he came, but he did not bring the money. So the speaker wants to emphasize the fact of his coming in contrast to his not bringing the money. So what does he do? That means he came empty-handed. So he wants to focus on the coming, which has no meaning, as he did not bring the money. Vadu Ravadam. As for his coming, he came. He performed his duty, but he did not bring the money. So these are called cognitive gerunds. Ravadam, to come, vach, vachadu, vach is to come, vachadu came. So you have a repetition of the gerund. Then you have the conjunctive participles. As you might recall, we mentioned that Dravidian languages have affirmative conjunctive participles and negative conjunctive participles, and in the negative conjunctive participles, the negative a is infixed between the a or aka is infixed, occurs to the right of the embedded verb. So you have, when a time expression occurs in the predicate of the matrix clause, you can have a negative conjunctive participle or an affirmative conjunctive participle, and the truth value of the sentence, either with an affirmative conjunctive participle or with a negative participle, is nearly identical. That means the occurrence of the negative with the conjunctive participle has no semantic import at all. But notice that this happens only when you have a time expression in the matrix clause. Otherwise, a negative conjunctive participle has the semantic import of a negative plus the verb plus the CPM, that is the conjunctive participle. So let us look at some sentences. Let's look at an example from Tamil. It has been 2 years since you came to our house. Since you came to our house is expressed by a conjunctive participial construction in all Dravidian languages. So in the Tamil example, Neenga ಎಂಗ ವೀಟ್ಟುಕ್ಕು ಒಂದು 2 ವರ್ಷಮು ಆಗಿರದು. ಯು ಎಂಗ ಅವರ್ ವೀಟ್ಟುಕ್ಕು to our home. Vandu having come, one is the verb to come, two is the conjunctive participle marker. So vandu having come, rendu varshamu agiradu. To you 2 years have happened since you came to our house. So you have the embedded clause with an affirmative conjunctive participle, namely vandu. Now let us look at the same sentence with a negative conjunctive participle. Neenga enga veetukku varama poi 2 varshamu agiradu. It has been 2 years since you did not come to our house. Notice that whether you say it has been 2 years since you came to our house, it has been 2 years since you did not come to your house, the semantic import of the sentence is that you did not come to our house for 2 years. But in English and in Hindi, normally you have only one. आपको हमारे घर आए हुए 2 साल हुए. आपको to you हमारे घर to our house आए हुए having come 2 साल हुए. 2 years have happened. In Hindi we don't say आपको हमारे घर ना आए हुए 2 साल हुए. That is not permitted because the perfect participle आए हुए came, had come or came does not permit a negative to occur there. So in Hindi you have only आपको हमारे घर आए हुए 2 साल हुए. Another interesting feature about Hindi is that you cannot say आपको हमारे घर ना आकर 2 साल हुए. Though Hindi has negative conjunctive participles where the negative is a free form, आकर having come. When you have a time expression in the matrix clause, you cannot have a negative conjunctive participle because Hindi is a language which does not permit backward control, and this sentence has implications to the process of control, to the phenomenon of control. So you can work it out. आपको हमारे घर ना आकर 2 साल हुए. There the backward control is operative, but Hindi and Punjabi and Kashmiri and most of the Indo-Aryan languages except Konkani and Marathi and possibly Nepali, they do not permit a backward control. So what I am trying to focus here is that when you are discussing some issue, you have to see how that particular issue correlates with another issue in a different language family, or why Tamil or Telugu or Malayalam or Kannada can permit this kind of construction where Ninga enga veetukku varama poi 2 varshamu agiradu. You came to our house and to you 2 years have happened. This is a case of backward control. So the subject of the embedded clause is Ninga, that is overtly present. The subject of the matrix clause, to you 2 years have happened, to you the delay has happened, to you this time has elapsed. So the to you is not overtly present in Dravidian because this is a case of obligatory backward control. Why Hindi does not have this आपको हमारे घर ना आकर 2 साल हुए is because Hindi does not permit backward control. Had Hindi permitted backward control, the sentence would have been आप हमारे घर ना आकर आपको 2 साल हुए और 2 साल हुए, which is not a grammatical sentence in Hindi. And Dravidian languages have a very important and significant construction which is not found anywhere in the subcontinent, and I think is very rarely found in any other language. For example, this is called the double dative construction, where the possessive pronoun, when it relates to body parts or kinship terms, can be raised from the possessor form to a dative subject. Let's illustrate what we mean by that. I got hurt, he got hurt on his hand. Let's take that sentence. Now, to get hurt is a predicate that requires a dative subject in many Indian languages. So, Vadiki, to him, oh, this is eye, Vadiki, he got hurt on his eye, in his eye. Vadiki, Kantiki, to his eye, Debba, injury, Tagilindi, got hurt or hit. He got hit in his eye. Now, eye is an intimate part of your body and it is non-alienable, and you have a construction where you have the possessor is a dative subject. To him, to his eye got hurt. So, you have two subjects, his eye got hurt and he got hurt, and both the sentences have both the subjects occur one after the other in a sequence. Vadiki, Kantiki, to him, to his eye, Debba, injury, Tagilindi, hit. Now, this can also be said with a possessive. Vadi Kantiki, Debba Tagilindi. Vadi, his eye, Kantiki, to his eye, injury, hit. There, Vadi is a possessive form of the pronoun he, and this Vadi has a possession that is an intimate body part that is inalienable. This Vadi can be raised to the position of the higher class due to a phenomenon called possessor ascension. So, you have this construction which I discussed a moment ago, namely Vadiki, Kantiki, Debba Tagilindi, and the other sentence which is not given in your handout is Vadi Kantiki, Debba Tagilindi. That is, so the literal translation is his eye got hurt, his eye with a dative subject, or to him, to his eye got hurt. This is what we label as double dative constructions in Subbarao 2012 in the book on syntactic typology. You might be interested to see it. Now, let us look at some salient features of Dravidian. The most important feature, according to me, is the double dative construction, which is not found, and the occurrence of cognitive gerunds, which to the best of my knowledge is also found in French. Expletive light verb with or without a negative verb, that is a verb such as to do without any semantic content. Thank you very much.